Diomedes System. Diomedes is a 7-planet solar system loyal to the League of Free Worlds. Containing some of the most fertile and beautiful worlds anywhere in the universe, Diomedes was colonized between 4341 and 4394 AD. Within a matter of years, it became clear to the Empire that the system represented one of its greatest natural resources. Diomedes now supplies the League with energy, food, and various manufactured goods. The gas planet of Elysium was targeted for colonization in the mid-4320s. Empire energy production was failing to meet target quotas, and it was known that the planet's proximity to the sun Ra would help boost its energy generation. No further colonization was planned. Speculative probes launched during the construction of Elysium's power plants revealed highly fertile soil samples taken from Bacchus and Artemis. Further planet surveillance followed, and in 4342, the decision was made to commence immediate colonization of the entire system. Following industrial unrest on Iris and the spread of resistance to Empire control within neighboring systems, Diomedes declared itself loyal to the League in the 6th phase of the uprising.
As a wholly loyal solar system, the League supplies Diomedes with all available defense resources. However, the system relies on the intense commitment of its people and remains short of essential military hardware. Specific details necessarily carry a Class 4D Optimum Restriction Order.
Elysium is a predominantly gas planet surrounded by orbital power plants and a number of heat-blocked residential compounds. The Empire originally attempted to encase the entire planet within a suspended heat-resilient exoskeleton, although this project eventually proved unworkable and only the base support structures remain. These are now used as off-planet docking bays by the League. Elysium was colonized in 4341 AD as a site for the generation of solar energy. The initial influx of colonists refused to work due to the disorientating effect of the planet's rapid rotation. The change from darkness to light proved too frequent for the human metabolism. A self-regulating permaskin was developed by Magirap Industries, an Empire-sponsored company involved in the manufacture of micro-thin heat deflectors for flight craft. When worn, this body covering and headset created a day-night changeover sequence independent of actual planetary conditions. The original supply channels established by the Empire distributed Elysium's power to at least 12 different solar systems. Since the planet's population declared its loyalty to the League, these supply routes have been terminated. Most of the planet's energy is now used within Diomedes itself.
The central power distribution node on Elysium has been fitted with an impact reversal loop. In the event of a destructive strike targeted on Elysium, the planet's entire energy generation installation will feed back on the attacker. Unfortunately, due to a lack of testing, the reliability of this device is not known.
Bacchus is an extraordinarily fertile rock planet covered in a nutrient-rich, fibrous soil structure irrigated by naturally filtered water supplies. Until recently, the planet was responsible for many of the League's finest foodstuffs, although much of the food chain has now been blighted by the introduction of a mutant gene which has rendered the vegetation inedible. This gene is believed to have originated in an Empire laboratory. Colonized in 4349 AD, Bacchus was hailed by the Sentinel Daily Report as possessing the most perfect soil for the propagation of edible materials our scientists have ever studied. Other Empire propaganda ethercasts referred to the planet as a floating farm and the ball of dreams. Bacchus's original colonists were permitted to retain 0.0045% of their food output for their own use. The planet's yield was so large that this resulted in a vastly overfed population who became unwilling and unable to maintain the Empire's intensive working practices. Many of the processes were consequently mechanized, and a newly trained workforce put in place. The original colonists were removed and subjected to enforced dietary restriction. Since Bacchus claimed loyalty to the League, it is believed that Empire bioresearch scientists have been attempting to poison the planet's food output. The recent introduction of a deadly mutant gene appears to prove this.
The defense of Bacchus has recently become the subject of much debate within the League, as the mutant virus infecting its food indicates that defenses have been breached. Data blanketing measures have been taken, and all distribution privileges withdrawn. All other details withheld.
Artemis is a ringed gas planet which specializes in the growth of highly nutritious vegetable produce. Like its neighbor Bacchus, Artemis is one of the most fertile spots in the known universe. Unlike its neighbor, it has so far resisted attempts by the Empire to introduce rogue elements into the food production process, and therefore remains one of the most important League bases. Artemis was colonized in 4362 AD, as it was known to possess a curious suspended soil mantle which benefited from the presence of a heavy gas sublayer. Following problems with the working practices on neighboring Bacchus, a fully automated production process was introduced. However, after a series of major malfunctions, the Empire's Agricultural Commission introduced a resident workforce. They were given no rights to any of the food they produced. All goods were seized at the time of harvesting and removed. During the industrial uprisings on Iris, which turned the system's loyalties towards the League, the agricultural workers of Artemis dismantled all their machinery and destroyed an entire year's harvest. This seriously affected the AgCom's food budgets and caused famine in a number of isolated population centers. It remains one of the most famous acts of resistance in the League's history.
Since the poisoning of Bacchus's food cycle, the importance of maintaining an uncorrupted source of high-quality produce on Artemis has increased. All data referring to the planet's defenses has been withdrawn from the information domain. No further details available.
Loakun is a rock planet housing manufacturing facilities dedicated to the production of body-compatible biofabrics. The planet's infrastructure was established by commercial organizations supported by funds from the Empire's Bureau for Technological Advancement. All facilities are now controlled by the workforce on behalf of the League of Free Worlds. Loakun was colonized in 4367 AD as a commercial development zone for industries involved with technological research. The largest organization to set up a base on the planet was Magirap Industries, the corporation responsible for the protective body wrapping used by power plant workers on Elysium. They successfully bid for a development grant and transferred all research, design, and manufacturing departments to new premises on the planet. In return for Empire funds, Magirap committed themselves to the development of dedicated biofabrics which could effectively fuse with a human body to create a second skin. The results of the research were largely put to military use. However, following the anti-Empire uprisings, Biofabrics have been adapted for use by workers on planets with hostile atmospheres, usually in connection with food production.
Under Empire control, Loakun was not heavily defended. A basic trigger response network has now been established by the League, although the planet's defenses remain heavily dependent on maintaining a passionate and committed population.
Iris is a mainly gas planet manufacturing much of the specialized plastics applied to official League enclosures in neighboring solar systems. Established as an extension of the Loakun Commercial Development Zone, the planet's industrial struggles were responsible for the first anti-Empire uprisings throughout Diomedes. The resident workforce remains highly committed to the League. With the success of the neighboring development zone on Loakun, the Bureau for Technological Advancement was anxious to capitalize on the region's concentration of research and manufacturing skills. An extension to the development zone was established on Iris in 4378 AD, and a number of high-technology commercial interests moved in. Timac Artifice was the first corporation to make a base on Iris. Responsible for advanced plastic systems to be used in artificial neural components destined for the military, Timac had a history of coercive labor control methods. Following their notorious production line cull, planet-wide rioting gave way to an organized uprising against the Empire. Inspired by rebellions elsewhere, it was the violent action on Iris which led to the entire Diomedes System turning to the League.
Iris's airspace is defended by a combination of beam-responsive protasm missiles and blanket sky patrols by League activists. Scan deflectors are in constant operation, as are three-way bombardment warning sensors. Firepower remains medium to heavy.
Athena is a gas planet housing a large research community. It is involved in the investigation of zero gravity and its effects on living organisms. Originally testing Mark IV gravity disintegration weapons on behalf of the Empire's destructive capacity group, the League now directs the research towards peaceful ends. The occupied surface of Athena is constructed from sheets of ready-fused porous aluminiac, commonly known as Jeffers compound. This is in recognition of the efforts of Commander Emeric Jeffer to build an observation platform on Athena, from which the rings of Iris could be studied. These rainbow-colored rings are one of the most beautiful natural phenomena in the universe. Commander Jeffer wanted them to be available for Empire colonists to see. He developed a material which could be suspended above the planet's gas surface, but was then dismissed and executed by Empire Command. His discoveries were then put to military use. Now dedicated to non-military scientific research on behalf of the League, the community on Athena revere Commander Jeffer as a man concerned with the pursuit of knowledge and beauty. The Empire could not allow such a man to continue in their ranks, and for this, he paid the ultimate price.
Athena's peaceful scientific community insists on a heavily cloaked defense presence. Low-noise engine casings and restricted impact deflectors are fitted to all craft patrolling the planet. However, there has been no reduction in the League's capacity to defend Athena. All other details are withheld.
Gratifa is a heavily forested rock planet manufacturing hover vehicles for civilian use. Its forest regions were originally used as recreation areas for high-ranking Empire officials, while vast expanses were cleared for the construction of industrial manufacturing plants. These were occupied by private corporations, but are now dedicated to the League of Free Worlds. Colonized in 4394 AD, Gratifa was the final planet in the Diomedes System to be taken by the Empire. It was zoned into industrial and recreational areas. The beautiful forest regions were populated by Empire officials who would be allocated a rest period on the planet as a reward or incentive. Clearance work began on the industrial zones in 4395. Prefabricated manufacturing plants were established alongside low-grade residential estates for the on-planet workforce. In common with a number of Diomedes' other industrial centers, industrial unrest spread from the planet Iris, resulting in a mass shutdown of all Gratifa's commercial properties. The recreational zones were subjected to sporadic arson attacks, which left large areas of forest burnt away. These areas are now used as test circuits for the civilian hover vehicles which are developed on the planet. All means of production on Gratifa are now controlled by the League of Free Worlds. Colonized.
Gratifa is shielded by anti-incursion deflectors and a number of D-4RX response bolts appropriated from Empire weapon dumps. Data is subject to a Code 7 restriction specific to planets with high civilian populations. Military information is low to medium. Privileged access only.